On this episode of WTF, we're going to show you how to make the best keto tacos, tortillas, and tortilla chips. Hello, this is Chef Scott
and Janie, and welcome to WTF, where we help you transform food in your kitchen. So remember to subscribe and stick around for our weekly giveaway. This week we are talking all about how do you make keto tortillas, tacos, and tortilla chips. And Scott, this has been a very commonly requested episode from our keto viewers. And of course, as always, we want to make sure that it was something that we thought was absolutely delicious, regardless of what kind of diet that you may follow. Can you start off a little bit with what kinds of challenges did you face when you started working on the R&D part of this episode?
So with tortillas, even corn tortillas, they have a good bit of almost like tensile strength, right? You can pull them, stretch them, fold them, and they're not going to crumble. With things that don't have gluten or corn or any starch, you run the risk of them just being completely crumbly all the time, no matter what. So we had to find a way to be able to make them, to be able to fold, hold taco fillings. We even tested them by putting like butter knives in them just to see how they would hold up. And we found a way that's going to be great. One for frying, so you can have a crispy chip. That's a big thing for keto. And folding and making even little quesadillas if you wanted to. So all these things work really well with our tortilla.
Yeah, and when I think about tacos and tortillas, I'm thinking you can either have them soft, you can fry them up, make them crispy. I see some of these are like incredibly crispy already, which is wonderful. How exactly did you get to that point?
So we started with our base kind of understanding of keto stuff. We love pork rinds for this. Almond flour works really well, but we were running into the issue we can make them look like tortillas but not feel or eat like tortillas. Then we used a special ingredient, Konjac Gum, and when you mix Konjac Gum with calcium hydroxide, it changes the pH, which makes the Konjac Gum make this really great, stable, flexible gel. You don't notice it when you're eating it, but it has that texture as if it had gluten in it, if it had that cornstarch that had solidified. All that stuff works really well, so we're able to get a great tortilla.
Yeah, so we can't wait to jump right into the demo. And if you've been watching us or being in the keto diet for a while, you may have found the Konjac Gum calcium hydroxide combo makes great noodles, right? So now if you already have this in your pantry, this is another wonderful application for those ingredients. Yes. All right, let's get into the demo. Where are we starting?
Great, so we're gonna make it and cook it right on camera today. No cuts, straight through, which is going to be great because it'll show you how easy it is at home. One thing we wanted to do is to not take away the process. So if you've recently switched to a keto diet and you don't want to, lose out on that process of just making the tortillas or do something that's going to be incredibly long, this is super simple. So I start with the pork rinds and then I add in almond flour. So I basically do all my dry except for the calcium hydroxide. I'm going to add in my Konjac Gum and then a little bit of salt. Be wary of the the pork rinds you get because sometimes they're super salty. So just understand that if they are salty, taste one, and you just don't need to put any of the salt in. And then I'm going to add in eggs. Actually, let me buzz this up real quick. So I want to make a little powder before I add any of the eggs. So I'm just going to blitz this a few times until I have basically a flour made out of it. So that's simple. I can add in my eggs, and then I'll mix this to start the dough. So a very coarse dough is made, and I have some water and my calcium hydroxide. Now calcium hydroxide is an alkaline ingredient, so what that does is it changes the pH of the konjac, like I said, and then it will allow it to make that really firm gel when it's cooked. So add this directly in there, mix it up, and I'm basically done.
That is really fast.
So when this is done, it will look a little bit soft, but over time, more and more of that konjac will then solidify.
Okay. Do you recommend that people leave it to hydrate or set for any period of time?
I would go immediately because Within like the hour, it may be a little bit difficult to work with, and the more you let it set, the more difficult you're going to get those nice clean edges on the edge of the tortilla. So basically all I'm going to do, let me just spray this down real quick. If you have a tortilla press, you can use wax paper. This one is just a heated tortilla press. So we're just going to put about 1 ounce in the middle here. Just be careful. And just a light press. You don't want to push too hard. Same with regular tortillas. They'll start to splinter out and you'll get a lot of holes in it. So once this goes for about 30 seconds to a minute, they'll be done.
All right. And while we're waiting that 30 seconds to a minute, well, it's a great opportunity for me to talk about this week's giveaway. So this week we are giving away a bag of the calcium hydroxide and Konjac Gum. And in order to enter to win, just leave in the comments below another keto challenge you would like to see us tack on, or a traditional recipe that you want to see us convert into keto. So you guys have been very much giving us amazing suggestions. You might have noticed a lot of this content now is being driven by feedback that we're receiving. So keep that going. Scott, what do we have on the plate here today? It looks and smells delicious.
So we really put them to the test. We wanted to fry the shells to make chips. And we also wanted to add one of the wettest toppings that you can put into a tortilla. So we made some birria. And so the birria is basically a braised beef. Then you cook some cheese onto the taco. You cook the taco shell or the tortilla in the fat from the braising liquid. So you really kind of put it to the test with how much fat and how much juice you can get into it. And if you can pick up one of those tacos and dunk it, then you've really made something that is worthwhile. So try it out, Janie.
Okay. All right. And we can kind of see, oh, there's another taco. That this is definitely juicy. We'll dunk it. Holding up great. Holding up great.
Okay, don't get it on your dress.
That's really good.
Yeah, those are delicious, and you'd never know.
They are delicious.
I wouldn't, I wouldn't eat that and say, oh, I'm really missing the tortilla. Should get you a napkin.
Too late. I just have greasy hands. So the barilla is amazing. It's outstanding. And the tortillas, it's crispy, it's crunchy. I don't know if the mic is picking up the crunch, but I can definitely hear it as I'm eating it. I can feel it. It's not breaking apart at all, and it really has, was that word you used at the very beginning? Tensile?
Tensile strength.
Yeah, just perfect tensile. Perfect tensile strength, because it just has that kind of little bit of give, but it's holding together perfectly. I think if you've been missing having tortillas and tacos in your diet, this would be an amazing addition.
There we go. We can show this.
Okay.
When you start to see it get a little bit, the drier spots on top, then it is good. And I can absolutely pick this one up, fold it, pull on it, and it's ready to go.
Yes. If you're not a chef, maybe not pull it up off with your bare hands.
You can pick it up with tongs or tweezers or a spatula. That's totally fine. These hold great. We can put them in the freezer. We can wrap them and keep them in the refrigerator. Just because of the amount of protein that's in there, I would definitely keep them in the refrigerator. Don't leave them out, because moisture and protein equals danger sometimes. So keep them in the refrigerator. You can fry them. If you want to just take one of those chips and break it into that microphone, because that is a big thing. People always want crispy. They lose out on it, right? They lose out on it with keto, because things don't have any of that starch. They don't have any of that wheat flour. So this is something that you can absolutely do, and you can even dip it into guacamole or salsa, and you're going to have great chips.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to make a batch of these beforehand and then freeze them, can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can make them. You can freeze them in, whatever amount you want. If you want 5 or 6, put them into a little plastic wrap and freeze them.
Okay,
Then
fry them first and then freeze them.
Yes, I would do it, because this needs to be made almost immediately, or else it'll start to get too firm.
Yeah, so if you're excited about this recipe, remember the link will be in the description below. Check out our other recipe for the shirataki noodles, where you use the same Konjac Gum and calcium hydroxide. And remember to leave your comments. And until next week, from here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie.
And I'm Scott.